Good evening, my friends. Some anecdotes concerning the visit I received enlightened me to understand the text of the book of Revelations, from which I found the assembly plan of the constituent element of the Extasium. While I only represented purely geometric shapes because of the use of small colored lamps and the need to center them to better integrate with the music, spectators shared me surprising images that they had perceived. For example, one evening, when there were many of us in the room, two boys told us they saw a woman with red panties. A third joined them, but no one else had seen her. Another time, a young woman told me that she had seen the old attack of a castle with the knights crossing the drawbridge and many other details. As she told it to me, her voice weakened, and finally she went back to that other happy world, and I never knew the end of the story. Other anecdotes of this kind made me understand the need of human beings to transform pure luminous abstractions, too difficult to integrate for their level of understanding, into humanized visions. See Greeks and Egyptian mythology or Hindu sacred books. This is why I read John's descriptions in the book of Revelation with a great deal of insight, which allowed me to understand that behind the phantasmagorical scenes he describes, there are pure geometric forms carrying message at several levels of understanding. Even more surprisingly, some people told me that they had felt love in all its forms, including sexual, while the images that scrolled by following the music were pure geometry. This takes me back a long time to when I first felt in love. The year I turned 13 was the year in which my fabulous destiny was set in motion. There was my puppet theater, very ephemeral, heralding my future research and also other episodes. At that time, we had 3 months of school vacations. The first month, in July, I went camping with my parents in Brière, on a piece of land on the banks of the Loire, near the famous canal bridge built by Eiffel. After a few days, they went back to Courbevoie and let me under the surveillance of the campus guards. I was friends with their oldest son, who was a little older than me. One evening, when we had decided to go for a walk in town, as we were crossing the fence, we heard a big splash at the back of the campsite. This was an old canal, and it was my boyfriend's youngest sister who had just fallen into it. When I saw the scene, I was completely stunned and could not move anymore. Fortunately, my boyfriend reacted immediately and saved his little sister. Since then, every time someone asks me what I would do in this or that situation, I refuse to answer because you never know what you would do. In August, my parents came back to pick me up and we went on a wild camping in the mountain of Andorra and a little tour in Spain. We climbed the mountain to go fishing for trout. One lends me a rod and I make my first cast. It is the last one. The fly got caught in the rhododendron and the rod broke. Fishing is not for me. It was my first trip abroad and I got a taste for it. The last month I went to join a family in Germany. Already the adventure, because I traveled alone this time. I had to catch the train by running, and after long hours in this steam train, I had to manage on my own to change train in Bamberg. Arrived in Schweinfurt, the barbarian capital of the world, which was heavily bombed during the last war. Nobody was waiting for me. My knowledge of German that I studied in class is very limited, and I felt completely lost. But fortunately, a gentleman who speaks perfect French, a memory of the occupation in France that he has kept with very good memories of, takes me under his wings and leads me to the station master, who makes me understand that I had to take another ticket to go to a small town where I had to go. The protective gentleman buys it and does not want to know anything so that I can reimburse him. After 2 hours of waiting, the train arrived, and the station master recommended me to the conductor, who was wearing an impressive high hat. It was an old train with platforms, and I thought I was in one Western. When I arrived at my destination, the conductor kept everyone waiting until he was sure that I was in good hands. Then, a charming employee of the station took me to the people's house, all surprised. They would only receive the card announcing my arrival the next day. I was very touched by this generous chain of solidarity. Mutti and her children, including a boy of my age, Lothar, were very warmly welcomed. The father had died in the war. They made me discover Coca-Cola. At home, we only drank from time to time lemonade. Since then, it's like Proust Madeleine. Every time I drink Coca, I go back to my 13 years old. One day, Lothar leads me to a youth group meeting where I see a beautiful 16-year-old girl. Immediate and mutual love at first sight. First kiss that I liked very much. Back in France, we correspond for a while. Ingrid began her letters with Lieber Rotstrumpf, which means Dear Red Star. That was because I was wearing red star, a new fashion in France. That was long before Piot created his blue strumpf. Later, with my first pocket money, rare and limited, I bought a jazz single interpreted by a famous trumpet player, Harry James, for the song I'm Beginning to See the Light. This heralded my research on light and music, and also my discovery of the inner light. After that, it was my first love that I will tell in the next episode. See you soon!